Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I've learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. My hat looks like it's like so far down on my head, doesn't it? Okay, let's get into today's video. I brought all of the meditation books today. I'm going to read a meditation from every single book. No, I'm not. I'm not at all. I'm going to go through here and I'm going to pick some random meditations to read, and we'll see what they have to say. I'm going to pick first from the Daily Book of Positive Quotations. I haven't looked at any of these books, so I pulled right to December 24th and 25th. Isn't that so funny? I have no idea what they're going to say. Oh, and then the next date I picked was December 17th, my sobriety birthday. Dealing with Fortune, it says. Okay, the Misfortune series by Jana DeLeon, which is my favorite series that I'm reading this year. Okay, which if you watch my vlog, you know, because I talk about incessantly, and on book 2. December 10th, Changing. The main dangers in this life are the people who want to change everything or nothing. Lady Nancy Astor. Extreme revolutionaries want to change everything. They see nothing of value worth preserving. Extreme conservatives resist change of any kind. They believe that things are just the way they should be. Neither extreme is realistic or productive. It's impossible to freeze the world exactly as it is for any length of time. And even if we could prevent change, the result would be stifling. On the other hand, as much as we might want to change everything about our lives and start fresh, we would still be who we are, flaws and all. Better to look for those things in our life that are worth preserving and to build on them. Change is always happening, and I can embrace it rather than resist or ignore it. This is a really good meditation, and I probably did this last year because change is something that I talk about on here on a pretty regular basis. It's this lesson in my life that I've learned a lot about. When I was growing up, and still a huge part of me is resistant to change. And when I was younger, I didn't like change. And I think typically those of us that grow up in kind of, toxic environments where there's addiction or any, kind of like family conflict or discord or something, we don't like change. We create safe environments for ourselves, and then we become very, very used to that. So any kind of change outside of that, especially any kind of like sporadic change, spontaneous change, is typically very scary to people that have created safe places for themselves. And I definitely was somebody like that. What I have learned over time is to, like it says, embrace change. I think it actually says this on here. Change is always happening. I can embrace it, yes, rather than resist or ignore it. Change is going to happen whether I want to accept it or not. There's a movie, Texasville, which is a sequel to The Last Picture Show, which was with Jeff Daniels and Sybil Shepherd. And the second one, the sequel, Texasville, has Annie Potts in it, who I love. And there's a scene when she's laying in bed, and Jeff Daniels, her husband, comes in. I think it's Jeff Daniels, comes into the room, and he says something to her like, "You look different, you've changed." And she says, "I changed." Well, I think she says it specific to women, but she says, I change, 100 times a day, and you don't even notice it. I'm constantly changing. And I remember when I first heard that line, and I was like, it kind of scared me to hear that, but I think it's really, really true. Like, we're constantly changing and evolving. What I have learned over time is to kind of just like float with the river of life and change and accept those things. There's some change that are easier than others, There's a saying in recovery that geographical changes are not the answer to our problems. Meaning that to just move away or to say, I'm going to completely forget who I was and reinvent that, means that we're going to bring with us the same problems that we had before, the same issues that we had before. Like, we have to take a look at who we are internally and work on developing and not changing that person, but working on who that person was and learning lessons from that and continuing, like I say, to graduate from class to class to class or grade to grade to grade. And we never really graduate from any kind of school of learning, do we? We learn a lesson, then we go into the next lesson. We learn that lesson, and we go into the next lesson. And like I've said before, lessons are repeated until they are learned. Somebody asked me actually the other day, they were like, what was your dad's quote, lessons are repeated until they are learned? No, it's actually Dr. Cherie Scott from her book, If Life Were a Game, These Are the Rules, or If Life Were a Game, These Are the Rules. And one of the first lessons is that, the first lesson is in life you will be given a body. Accept it or change it, but it's yours for life. And the second lesson is, in life you will be presented lessons. And I think the third lesson is lessons are repeated until they are learned. Which I believe, I really truly do, because it's been proven to me in my life, So I think it's a really great meditation. I have learned that you can be as resistant to change as you want to, but change is going to happen whether you want it to or not. Like, it just is, you know? And I've seen some friends of mine get very, very stuck in their lives because they are absolutely unwilling to accept any kind of change whatsoever. And change is scary. It really, really is, you know? And we're forever evolving and we're forever changing into new people, right? I think to keep a very close eye on that growth as it happens and that change, then it isn't so scary to us because we can kind of see ourselves evolve, you know? And I say, you know, in my videos a lot that every day that I wake up is like a new day to be the best version of myself that I can be. But I also want to know who I was yesterday and who I want it to be tomorrow so I can see that change occur over time, you know? And I can see how it happened and I can see the lessons and I can maybe pass them on to other people just like other people have passed their lessons on to me, you know? So it's about learning to not be so resistant to that change, I think. Great meditation. All right, let's read from Journey to the Heart by Melody Beattie. You know, I love this book. I think this is probably my favorite meditation book. It used to be this one, but I think it's Journey to the Heart now. They're more heartfelt. Okay. This one is the sister book to Codependent No More, though, which is one of my favorite books of life. Let's see. I'm going to see which one I want to read from. That one's called Heal from Past Betrayals. And this one is Empowerment. Let's talk about empowerment. That's a positive one. Empowerment, December 10th. You can think. You can make good decisions. You can make choices. First of all, can I just say, it's so strange that it's December 10th. Like, we are almost at the end of 2020. It sounds crazy, doesn't it? Empowerment, December 10th. You can think. You can make good decisions. You can make choices that are right for you. Yes, we all make mistakes from time to time, but we are not mistakes. We can make a new decision that takes new information into account. We can change our mind from time to time. That's our right, too. We don't have to be intellectuals to make good choices. I'm laughing because of something my friend Tanya says, but I'll tell you about that in a second. We don't have to be intellectuals to make good choices. In recovery, we have a gift and a goal available to each of us. The gift is called wisdom. Other people can think, too, and that means we no longer have to feel responsible for other people's decisions. That also means we are responsible for our choices. We can reach out to others for feedback. We can ask for information. We can take opinions into account. But it is our task to make our own decisions. It is our pleasure and right to have our own opinions. We are each free to embrace and enjoy the treasure of our own mind, intellect, and wisdom. Today I will treasure the gift of my mind. I will do my own thinking, make my own choices, and value my opinions. I will be open to what others think, but I will take responsibility for myself. I will ask for and trust that I am being guided by divine wisdom. So I'm laughing. This is such a great meditation, especially for me right now in my life. Well, always, I think, in my life. But I was laughing because one night Tanya and I were driving around, and this was probably like a year and a half ago, but I can remember on some drama video I was doing on my drama channel, I was getting a lot of criticism because I had changed my opinion about something, right? Like I used to feel one way and then I changed my opinion, and all these people were like, oh, you changed your opinion and like blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff, right? And I said something to Tanya about it, and she started laughing, and she goes, I can change my opinion every 5 minutes if I want. She's like, I might feel one way, and then somebody say something, and I might feel completely the opposite way 5 minutes later. She's like, as a human being, I have a right to change my mind all the time. I do change my mind all the time. You know, and I was like, God, that's so true. You know, I mean, and I think that when you're like on YouTube and stuff, people are very closely watching that stuff. But like as a human being off of YouTube, like I do change my mind. I change my opinion all the time. You know, I can watch a TV show, especially like if I'm watching like reality television or something. I can be watching one episode and then the next episode start and my mind completely change about a character or a person or something that I thought. It happens in books that I read all the time. It happens in movies that I watch. We constantly change our opinions, you know, and I think as people introduce new experiences to us and they share their experience, and I think that's why it's important, you know, for us to share our stories with other people of what we've gone through. We might see other people's human experiences of something they've gone through and go, wow, I never thought of it that way, you know? That's where the aha moment happens. And so you are allowed to change your opinion all the time. And what we don't talk about is we always kind of look at that as like this negative thing if somebody changes their opinion, right? But we don't look at it as a positive thing as well. And I remember there was this Oprah, I've talked about it on here before. It's actually one of Oprah's aha moments. She has all of her aha moments like on one disc from this 35th anniversary thing that she had. But you can see them all online too. And Dr. Phil was working with this woman whose daughter had been murdered. And it had happened like 15 years or 10 years before. And the woman hadn't changed her room or anything. And she came on and she told her story. And she talked about how they just left her daughter on the side of the road. And she said, like a piece of trash. Like they just left her on the side of the road like a piece of trash. And she was distraught. And it had been like, you know, 10 or 15 years or something. And she had died when she was 18. And Dr. Phil looked at her and he said, how would your daughter feel? Like, oh, she hadn't changed her room at all. She left her room exactly how it was. And Dr. Phil said, how would your daughter feel if she knew that you hadn't changed her room or had moved, you know, through this pain or, you know, whatever? And she said, oh, she would be very upset with me. She would be very upset with me. But she's like, I don't know how to move. You know, she said, I think she said move on, which I don't love that phrase. I like the phrase moving through pain. And he goes, do you think there's part of you that could celebrate the 18 years that she was alive instead of the one day that she died? And she like pauses. I mean, it is such a powerful moment, you guys. She pauses and she stops. Like, I'm getting chills thinking about it. She looks up at him and she goes, I never had thought of it that way. I never had thought of it that way before, you know? And I'm like getting teary-eyed thinking about it because we're allowed to have those moments where we change. And she said she's so thankful. She said, I was going to go home, and she goes, my plan was to come on the show and tell my story, and then I was going to go home and take my life. She said, but I don't have to do that anymore. And he goes, you're not going to do that? She goes, I don't have to do that anymore, you know? Because she had seen a different way. She had changed her mind about something. She had changed her opinion. But we always want to look at that as a negative thing, right? That we can't change our minds. We're not allowed to change our opinions. Well, yes, we can. We're human beings. We can change our minds, like my friend Tanya said, every 5 minutes if we want to. Every minute if we want to, you know? And as we are introduced to new information and new ideas and new experiences, we probably will change our minds. So that was an excellent meditation. I loved hearing that. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about those meditations in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.